My first job out of law school was at a plaintiff's personal injury firm in Lynn, Massachusetts. For those of you who don't know, Lynn, Massachusetts is a working class town, salt of the earth people, and it's a bit, to some, a tough town. It has clients, or I had clients that really lived paycheck to paycheck. And when they got hurt, righteous people who were hurt, it would affect them in ways that didn't affect somebody who had a 6-month cushion or a 1-year cushion. And we had to act fast. We had to implement strategies to try to get them their wages as quickly as possible and as efficiently as possible. And we had to resolve their cases in a way that it was expeditious, but that made sure that they were compensated for their injuries. I worked there for about 1.5 years. I had a great experience, a great mentor. I had a lot of cases, and I was able to step into a ginormous caseload at all different places and just absorb this information, and most importantly, get to meet some really great people and had the opportunity to help them. After working there for some time, I had a case against a defense attorney, and the case went well. The defense attorney, many years my senior, called me and said, "John, I want to tell you, you did a great job on that case. I was really impressed by you. I'd like to offer you a job." I said, "Tell me about it." I was offered a job at a firm in Boston on Rose Wharf, and I jumped at the opportunity. It was a great opportunity. I was going to be given, for the first time, 1.5 years after being out of law school, my own caseload to take forth the way I want to. And where I worked was busy, was fast. We were doing insurance defense, and I was captive counsel for an insurance company, and I handled cases. I was able to try multiple cases a year as the defense attorney and really learned and honed my defense skills. Well, lo and behold, 2 years later, I come across this other person, and they said, "I'd like to offer you another job." And this person was working at an in-house counsel, and I worked as in-house counsel for, at the time, One Beacon Insurance Group, and I worked as one of their attorneys. And I started this job, and everybody at the firm was many years my senior, and I was the young guy there. And it was a great experience. I learned from really some of the best and brightest defense attorneys how to work up a case from the defense point of view, how to punch holes in the plaintiff's case, and how to really learn how to win your cases and how to do it in a way that saved the insurance company a lot of money. I did this for years. My busiest year, I tried 10, 11 cases. I would go to the older attorneys, the more senior attorneys, particularly in the summer when they wanted to spend time on the Cape, and take their cases that they woke up and tried them. And they were worked up perfectly, and I'd have the opportunity to try these cases. And after winning a couple, my boss came to me and gave me a spot bonus. And I said, "Thanks, is this always gonna happen?" And with that, I continued to try cases. And I saved those spot bonuses and continued to save those spot bonuses, because as much as I enjoyed what I was doing, I really didn't like working for insurance companies. And what I really wanted to do was help the people that I previously represented, to help the individuals who were hurt. Well, long story short, the insurance company I was working for eventually was bought by another company. I was invited to work for the new company. And at that point, I made a decision that I don't want to work for an insurance company anymore. I had gotten what I needed to from that experience. I learned how to try cases. I tried an awful lot of cases. And at that point, I went out and opened my own law firm and represented plaintiffs in personal injury matters. And I've been doing that for the last 15 years with great success. What better way of getting money from an insurance company than to use the insurance company's attorney, or at least their former attorney? I know how insurance companies value cases. I understand what items are on their checklist and what checks need to be checked to ensure that our clients get the best recovery possible. I take that years and years of experience, and I teach my team this We hire team members who are trial attorneys, and we use that to get the best recovery possible. After doing this for so many years, our practice changed a bit. We've developed these relationships with our clients, and we're now representing the same people that we do in real estate transactions and estate plans, when their family members are hurt and when they're hurt, and we can continue to represent them as their plaintiff's personal injury lawyer. The way we look at every single personal injury case is not only about our client, but we try to think about the greater good of our community. Let me explain. We want to make sure that we can do our part to make our community a much safer place for everyone. We like to look at the jury as the conscience of the community. And this is how a lot of us in the legal profession, particularly in the plaintiff's world, like to look at the jury. And what that means is the jury is going to make a decision about what behavior is acceptable. Are we going to allow a person to text and drive? Are we going to allow a person to drink and drive? Are we going to allow a contractor or a construction company to have an unsafe job site? And that's really a decision that a jury gets to make. The jury gets to determine whether the person who caused the injury, we call them the tortfeasor, was acting reasonable under the circumstances. And if a jury finds that they're not acting reasonable, they then have the right to award damages. And often is the case that people don't act reasonable and they do it with ill motives. And it's up to a jury to determine whether or not that's the behavior that we are going to allow in our society. And the way we look at it is, if we can kind of raise the bar about what's acceptable behavior, we've done our part to make our community just a little bit safer. So as much as it's about my client and getting them what's rightfully theirs, it's also about helping to protect and preserve our community as a whole through protecting our client and bringing forth these cases and trying to get the best possible settlement or award that we can. Call us today.